Welcome to Conversations with Toy, a blogcast tackling life one episode at a time. This is the time to air out life's craziest moments. This space is all about speaking about life's hang-ups and ways in which we can leave better than when we started. Topics are all about ways we can find space to be better in life, love, mental space, and health.
Happy Friday. I hope that you have had the most amazing week. Thank you and welcome to Conversations with Toy. I am Toy, your podcaster. I'm also a blogger, a content creator. I wear a lot of hats. I also help people monetize, as well as, focus on their social media. In addition to that, I'm also a wife and mother of 3. So life be lifing. With all that being said, thank you for tuning in to another week of Conversations with Toy. I'm super excited to be back for another episode. I do not take that lightly. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's just have a little bit of a recap for the week. We have been now post-election time, and everybody, for the most part, is still feeling the feels and are doing whatever they need to do to take care of themselves, whether that be in a form of self-care, whether that be in communication with their communities, building communities. Many people are saying that they're just going to focus on their building of their communities. I love that for them. Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans who have served, whatever branch that you may have served in. We appreciate your service. With that also being said, today is a very extremely special day. And I would be remiss to not discuss it, not talk about it, not talk about the lessons that I've learned. And that is, today is the 10th year anniversary of my blog. 10 years ago today, I decided to say yes to myself. A year prior to starting the blog is when I went into therapy, and my therapist was saying, you really should consider going ahead and writing. You really should consider doing something for yourself. And I said, that sounds great. I really want to write. She gave me some ideas. However, it did not take off until a year later, which is bringing me to the 10th Blogiversary of my blog, Toy Time Blog. A lot of people have asked me why I chose that name. 1, because I like my name. That's number 1. Number 2, I just felt like it was my time. And so instead of saying my time blog, it's Toy Time Blog. And it was my time to bet on myself. It was my time to say yes 10 years ago. I was swamped. I had all 3 kids were born by this point. I am in the throes of being, into momhood. And if you are a mom, regardless if this is your first or your 10th, you know how hard it can be to try to put some, balance and stability. I was working with my first child. I ended up being laid off and moving to Philadelphia and found out I was pregnant all in the same day, legitimately. Now, I got laid off like a couple of weeks prior to that, but the move to Philadelphia was based upon the fact that I was laid off. I was just newly engaged. My fiance at the time, which is my now husband, we had decided we were going to make this work. Let's just do the things. And so I moved to Philadelphia. He's been here, born and raised. Moved to Philadelphia. The day that I moved in, I was sick as a dog, trying to get everything situated, and discovered by taking a beautiful pregnancy test that I was pregnant. And that would be the birth, going into the birth of my son. 2 years later, had my daughter. And again, the blog was written. It started off from postpartum depression, legitimately. It started off from a low place. It started off from a place that seemed dark. So that's why I don't understand when people say, and I do understand it, but I want to push against that. I do understand when people say they're in a tough time and they're in a tough space, because we all have tough times and tough spaces. What I also know is that in spite of those things, you can, I'm a witness that you can take the time to build from a low place. Everything doesn't have to be high. It doesn't have to be a position or a place where everything is perfect. You have everything in line and in mind. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I didn't even have a laptop. The laptop that I have now is my second laptop. I didn't get my first laptop. I think I've had this newer laptops for maybe a little under 2 years. The laptop before that, I think I might have had maybe 3 years. So about half of the time that I blogged on a phone. I blogged, typed it up on my phone, And yes, this was at the time when phones wasn't as advanced. Like I had, I could do the things I needed to do, but it wasn't as advanced as we are now. Could I blog full time on my phone? Yes, if I didn't have a choice, but I do prefer a laptop. I do prefer being able to open up and being able to write, without, typing with two little thumbs. I am a very well skilled typist. I have been typing my entire life, and I type extremely fast, and it just does so much better for me with a laptop. But for those first 5 years, I did not have the necessary skills. Probably, well, I had skills to write. I was always writing my entire life, but I definitely didn't have the necessary tools. So this goes to show for the people who say, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough resources. I 100% hear you, but I also am the same type of person who did it without anything. So this is why I am so happy for my 10th Blogiversary. I feel like I got a new 10-year-old, which is the same age as my actual 10-year-old. And it wasn't always roses and candy bars. Like it wasn't always a great ride. Like I've had great moments, and I will say overall 10 out of 10 would recommend. Like I know this sounds crazy. I'm telling you it hasn't been great, but I still say 10 out of 10 I would recommend. Here's why I would recommend you starting something, whether it's a blog, whether it's content creation, whether it's opening up a studio, writing a book, whatever it is that you are choosing to do. The reason why I still would suggest it is because there are so many things that I learned about myself that goes and supersedes the things that I've learned about other people that surround me. I have learned about a lot of people surrounding me. Make no doubt about it. I have learned a lot about other people, but the things that I've learned about myself have surpassed all of those things. I have learned what I like in this journey in these 10 years. I have learned to be more assertive. I've lost a few things in these 10 years. I have lost relationships with family members in these 10 years. I've lost relationships with friends in these 10 years. I have gained a broader understanding of myself. I have checked myself in these 10 years. And I think one thing that I will say for me, because my blog is about wellness, mental health and wellness, as well as lifestyle. And then of course I mix in food and things to do in Philly. But I have really come to the place where I've checked myself. This blog, for the most part, keeps me accountable. Like I try to keep my own accountability off and online, but for real, this makes me accountable because I go back and I sometimes have to read my own blogs to say, okay, remember you were struggling here. This is how you got through it here. I do it for myself. So again, I say all that to say 10 years of writing. Currently, I am writing almost 2 to 3 blogs per week. Now, there's been some times when I've missed, and maybe did just one a week, but for the most part, my average is about 2 to 3, most of the time 4. If you are a writer, especially if you are a blogger, you know that is extremely difficult to write that many blogs and fresh blogs, brand new content every week. To figure out what to write, to have the creativity, to tap into that creativity, because there are many times when your creativity will be hurt. And a lot of people have asked me in these 10 years, where do I get the concepts? Sometimes it'll just come to me. A lot of it's going to come from my personal experience, different things that I've experienced, things that I've gone through, things that I've learned, things that I've failed at. I am the one that will talk about my failures extremely open. And the reason is because if I can talk about it, I can help somebody through there when they get to that. And the second thing is, can't nobody else tell it like I can tell it, because when somebody else tell it, they're going to always sprinkle a little lie. They're going to always divert from what happened. They're going to put their spin on it. But when I'm telling it from how it is what it is. When I talk about losing during this 10 years that I've been writing, let me explain to you what that means. In the midst of this concept of writing this blog, there have been some very sensitive conversations and very sensitive topic. Okay. And I don't shy away from them. I never reveal the person's names or that, but I'm sure there have been plenty of people who kind of put 2 and 2 together and have formulated their opinions and therefore will be upset. Here's the reason why. I'm not saying that I don't care. Let me be very clear and very careful with my words. I am not suggesting that I don't care. What I am suggesting is that I do have a right to speak of experience that I've experienced from my perspective. Your perspective and my perspective don't have to be the same perspective, but I'm going to write it from my perspective. If I've gone through a breakup, even before I got married, if I decided to talk about that, which I think I wouldn't do now just because I'm married, but if let's just say I did, or if I was talking or covering dating, I could draw from an experience that I had from when I was dating, right? Those conversations, those things that I'm putting in those blogs, or if I'm talking about on the podcast, are going to come from my perspective. I've always stated from the gate, I am not a mental health professional. I am not a therapist. I can only tell you what has worked for me in hopes that it inspires you to go seek the help that you need, that it'll inspire you to add a little sprinkle of some things that you may be hearing me talk about to your life so that you can become better, right? It's about being inspired. Literally, we all are inspired by one person or another, and that's what it's about. But I've lost because I've had to go through a few arguments, dramas, foolishness. And so when I'm discussing something that happened to me, whether it's between me and another person, obviously, because it's not like I'm in here beating myself up. But if something is happening between me and another person, I can't talk from their perspective. I don't know what it felt like when I was arguing with them and they were arguing with me and how they felt, right? But I can tell you what I felt. And one of the things that I've learned in this 10 years is that I think a lot of times for me, and this could be your experience too, sometimes when you're in the midst of your hurt and you're hurt by something, you will focus on all the wrong things because it seems so wrong or so disdaining to say, I am hurt by what you said, or I am hurt by what you did. I'm sure that somebody has experienced that. And so instead of you saying, I'm hurt, I don't like what you said, I don't like what you did, we'd rather focus on the wrong parts of the conversation. And so in these 10 years, there are still a few family members I will not fool with. Now, here's the perspective, because I don't want to make this about, the loss. But what I will say is, when I went to therapy, sat with my therapist, especially my first therapist, because my first therapist I felt like was in the deep trenches. And then my second one, she was in them trenches, but in a different like a different lane of that trench, right? And in that first one, I was so angry. And I could never say that openly. I could never say I was hurt because I felt like by saying I was hurt, it made me sound like I was weak. Of course, through therapies, getting some things together, putting some things on the table, I came very comfortable to the place that there are some relationships that I quote unquote lost that I don't want back. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't want them back. They never meant me any good. I said what I needed to say. They said what they needed to say, and I'm going to go on with peace. I don't feel like sometimes we tell ourselves that we have to pick up the pieces with other people to make the situation better. Sometimes some things just belong right where they stand. Some things that just be left alone. There are a couple people that I still deal with, as far as family members, but the ones that I just refuse, it's not even that I refuse. Let me change the language. It's not that I refuse to deal with them. I don't see the value in it, and I don't want that for my life. You got two things to do to get me to the point where I do not fool with you. And that is, if you come for my children, my kids are always off limits. And here's another reason why. Most of the people that I've had issues with in my family don't even have a relationship with my children. So for you to come for my kids, you don't even have a relationship with them, I'm going to need you to exit left. Because the second my kids are brought up, the second you come for my children, I'm talking about specifically say something in regards to the children you don't know, I can almost guarantee you, and almost every mother and even some aunties know, we are going to go to bat. So for the relationships that I lost based upon that, I'm not picking that back up. You can respectfully stay in your place because I have no reason to deal or fiddle or fool with you. And that doesn't make me a bad person. That doesn't make it a thing like I can't believe it. You cannot believe it, but I promise you my peace and the peace of my children are going to stay 100% intact. Okay. And I learned that through these 10 years. It's okay to let some things go. Okay. Then there are the friends. I started off in this journey as a writer. I never intended to be a content creator. It was the fact that since 5 or so years ago, content creation has changed. Yes, I write blogs and then I go and create content, which is video content or picture content or something to go along with that blog because people are visual beings. Okay. So now I'm out here having to be content creator as well as a writer. I've gotten way better. I love the process. I love the editing. I do. Now, sometimes it can get a little tedious, but I do love overall the process. I say all this to say that in these last 5 years, there have been some relationships that just did not mesh and some that just did not work. And I'm going to give you a news flash because I just want us to get to where we need to get to. I'm going to lose some more. Because as I change, as the people around me change, you can't help but to kind of move forward. Okay. And so there were some relationships, I'm trying to think of a few that can come to mind. There are some where timing just allowed it to naturally progress to a relationship that it doesn't exist. That doesn't mean I wish anybody any harm. If I see them and see people, I'm going to always greet you with love and kindness. It's just that we ain't sitting our feet underneath the table and hanging out. We ain't at that level. We ain't at that place. That's just not us. And it's okay. It's okay. Whenever you start something, whenever you start anything, everybody that took the first step on the ride may not be at the end of the ride when it's over. And I'm going to be real with you. Even some who have been the most longest and the most supportive, they may not end up in the same place either. I stopped telling people what I'm doing. I know that sounds crazy. I stopped telling people what I'm doing. Because here's the thing, you got one time, if I say, hey, something's going on and you hit me with that dry, like you ain't really like surprised or you're not really happy or you kind of give me that dryness, you don't have to have the same level of excitement because that's my thing, right? I should be excited because that's the reason why I'm doing it. I should have joy because again, that's why I'm doing it. But there's a difference between not having the same level of excitement to becoming dry. And so when I got to the point where I was dealing with people who continuously give me the same dry response and then wonder why I don't tell them stuff, I don't understand where you don't wonder why. I don't know where the wondering is because the wondering is there because there's nothing that's being produced. If I feel like the relationship is going one way, I'll just let it naturally die. And I had to get to the point of that because sometimes we resuscitate things that need to just go ahead and die. And I had to really learn that. I think that's one of the hardest lessons in this world because my content is not for my family or my friends. Them learning about their mental health and wellness, I'm not saying that they can't learn from me. I'm not saying that they can't take from me. But reality of it is they probably don't need to be seeking me. They need to be seeking somebody else. Because when I think about my background, a lot of my background and my people come from the church realm, right? I'm a church baby, PK, a preacher's kid. A lot of those people who are still stuck on the fact that we pray, but we don't go to therapy. A lot of those people who say, ooh, she doing too much. I can't fool with her. She's always just basically living and she don't want to live the way the Lord says. And they start pulling them elements into it. A lot of times when they pull one of those stunts, that my content doesn't resonate. It doesn't resonate because I'm a firm believer that God will bless us. We can pray, but I also believe in how we can work our faith. And I believe that if I need to go see a therapist, that doesn't make me feel like I let God down and God didn't work. God gave me the therapist. He gave me the tools and I'm going to use it. But when I think about my childhood, when I think about the people who was in my circle, a lot of them won't tap into that because there's some people are just so stuck on being old school. They don't want to add anything new. They don't want to be like, I don't want to go to therapy. I don't want to do gentle parenting. I just want to yell at my kids and call them everything outside of the book. I just want to beat on them because that's how you teach them. And you got to get them to beat and you got to beat them and you got to beat them. And that ain't where I'm at. That's not where I'm at. So my family and my friends are not my target audience. And I had to learn that. And so I know who my target audience. I know the people who are going to get up. They're going to figure out how to get themselves back up after they fall. They're the type of people who are saying, you know what? I'm going to be more steadfast and be more watchful of the things that I'm around, the people that I'm around, the food I put in my mouth, how I'm drinking. I may have to cut back sometimes because yes, I love a good cocktail. If you go on my page, you're going to see a lot of cocktails. Oh my God, you drink. Yes, I like a good cocktail. But when I need to cut back, when I need to say, nope, we're taking a break, when I need to be on my dry vibes, I'm going to do that because that's what's best for me. I'm trying to create what I feel is balance for me. And I had to learn that. It's for me. Only thing I can do is encourage. Whatever you do is you're going to do that. It's going to come from how you perceive you need to, do for yourself. So friends, I've lost a few. I've lost a couple of family members. Again, I have nothing but love. I don't have any ill will towards anybody. I don't feel an animosity in my spirit towards anyone. I can say that now. If I would have said that a couple years ago, and by a couple I just mean it really ain't a long time ago, I honestly would be lying to myself because I had so much animosity. But I'm at this point where I love peace. I love the peace that I create in my space, and I love the peace that I create in my home. One of the other things that I learned in this journey through the 10 years too is you can't let everybody in on what you're saying and what you're doing, and you can't let everybody come and collab with you. Here's what I mean by that. In this space, I have the ability to collaborate with a lot of companies. In some situations, this doesn't work. I personally vet all products that I suggest to people because I can't say, oh, this is a good thing to you to try it. And you go and try it. You may have listen, everybody has different responses to it. But if I put it out there, I'm going to say I had a great response, and I hope that you do too. But what I've also learned in the collaborative spirit is that there are some people who have no intentions of ever helping you become great. They will never show, you know how many times we post other people's stuff? Let Beyonce come out with a new line. We will post that in our stories. Let whoever, I don't know who you think is a big person, but whoever that person is, and we like, well, you know what? I'm going to share that on my stories. I'm going to reshare that on my Facebook. I'm going to send out that, text to somebody, read this. You will do all those things for all the people, but then they won't do it for you. But let you get something. In my space, I come in contact with a lot of brands, a lot of things, a lot of fun things. And I'll have people who have never shared a blog, never did any of those things, who will then turn around and say, well, hey, can you give me the hookup? And the answer is going to be no. It's going to be no. It's going to be no, not because I hold the power, but it's going to be no because it's not benefiting me. I think a lot of people see content creators and they know that they're getting some type of a discount or something's free. They may be getting a free vacation. They may be getting paid to create this content. And a lot of people are just like, well, I just want to get that. I want that. I would love a part of that. And it's like, there's work to be done behind the scenes. Okay. All right, so now that we talked about the wonderful things that I have learned on the blog with blogging, and again, I encourage you to, any of the one that's listening, to pick up a social skill, something that you can do, that you can make, one, that you can make money, but don't do it for the money. But also two, something that you really enjoy, like tapping into whatever that you enjoy. Listen, Thanksgiving is 2 weeks away. Yeah, it's got about 2 weeks away. You should start getting your menus together now. You probably want to do that. And if you haven't been authorized, meaning your people have not said, let's have her make so-and-so, it's not the time to experiment with no food. Now, I've said this every year at Thanksgiving. Every time I do anything getting close to Thanksgiving, and I probably will do it again the week before Thanksgiving, I guess, which is technically next week. And I'll have a podcast out for Thanksgiving Day, or the day after Thanksgiving, only because there's so many people who do not have a family to sit with because for all the different reasons that we already know about. All I'm going to say is the time to prepare is now. With that being said, Thanksgiving is going to be here in less than 2 weeks, and then we have the Christmas holiday and the Christmas spirit. Listen, I need for everybody to get a plan about what it is that you're going to do. Sometimes just going out and doing random stuff just ain't going to work. And I feel like some people don't realize that they need to put a budget together and stay within that budget, because I'm not going to do the most just to please all these different people. And, it could be a lot. All right. And so I need everybody to get a plan, get a budget in place, and figure it out, figure out what it is that you want to do for this holiday season. Here is a couple things to keep in mind. If for whatever reason, and I've said this 1,001 times, if for whatever reason Thanksgiving is about to come, which it is, and you're in a place where you don't feel comfortable going to your family's house, I want you to find some things you can do for yourself. One, make a plan. Are you going to have a Friendsgiving? Listen, Friendsgiving is a beautiful thing. This means the family that you choose. You call your friends, you have them over. You can have them over a few days before Thanksgiving. You could have them over next week, which is the week before Thanksgiving. You could even have them even the week after. Just as long as you come together and say, you know what, let's bring some food together. Let's bring a couple of drinks and mocktails together. let's just enjoy each other's presence. You guys mean the world to me. And you're sitting at that table and you're expressing your great gratitude. That is beautiful. And I'd rather you do that than to go sit at Aunt so-and-so's, cousin so-and-so, grandma, grandpa so-and-so, mom and dad so-and-so's house and know you're going to leave feeling like, the worst situation ever. You're just going to feel like I should have never come. I should have never been here. This is it's not serving me. I feel worse than when I came in here. Don't go to nobody's house that you're going to feel that way. If you even think you're going to feel that way, don't go over there. I don't care who it is. And I need people, especially my older listeners, for you that's tapping in. I love that for you. Welcome. In this space, we talk about some things that may not have happened for you in your childhood or your growing up. And I can understand change becomes different and difficult. But I need you to understand, if you would just take 5 seconds to listen to somebody that's younger than you, you will do yourself and them the hugest of benefits. Because sometimes we go into situations trying not to understand the person because we were never committed to hearing them. We want to go on record and say, I heard you by listening, by basically allowing them to speak, but we had no intentions of actually hearing them. And so when people are trying to express the way that they feel about the things that are going on, I'm just confusion as to why we don't really take the time to listen. And I'm going to give you the answer. You didn't want to listen in the first place. You had no intentions of doing anything with the information you heard. You weren't going to do anything. You just wanted to go on record. And I feel that's sad. But I need people to also get to the point where, again, if they're in a position where they feel that somebody that they're going to potentially go over to their house is going to be more harm than good, I'd rather you stay at home. I'd rather you go home and make some non-traditional food and stay at home. I'd rather for you to pick up a big bowl of cereal, stay in your pajamas, listening and watching your Christmas music and movies, and relaxing, getting you some rest, maybe taking the time to put you some holiday decorations up and really just enjoying your time and your space. I find the older that I get, that peace means so much more to me than anything. And anywhere where I can't be at peace or have a peaceful situation, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want no parts of it. I just don't want it. I really don't. I just really don't. But I say all that, listen, I need you to get a plan for your holidays, what you're choosing to do, because this is the time. All right. So a lot of things that I have been seeing because we're in the holiday spirit is how people are trying to create joy in their home. Okay. I've talked about creating joy. I've blogged about creating joy. And I feel like we really need to increase ways to create this joy. What will it take for you to create that joy in your space? I know a lot of times money don't be long. So you got things you got going on, you got bills you have to pay, but it has to do with the atmosphere of the home. For instance, in my house, I go out of the way to try to make sure that everybody just has something that they can enjoy. Each kid has their own likes and dislikes. And when they're having a struggle moment, they're struggling in their emotions, I tell them, hey, did you go create something? Did you go and draw something? Did you do some Legos? Did you go write something? Did you go in your art studio? What did you create today? Because that's creating joy. Another thing that I want you to do, because of the holidays are coming around, make your home cozy as it possibly can. First of all, I like to clean the house first, then go ahead and create the cozy vibes, because cozy vibes will make you feel more comfortable. It really will make everything just feel so calming. And sometimes we need that little calming spirit. So there's nothing wrong with that. Go ahead and get calm. Make a cozy atmosphere for you and your family. You all deserve it. It's okay. And if you are single, create a calming environment for you. This is not a marriage versus single situation. This is just about creating space and causing joy to exude in your home. Today's topic, we're going to treat people right. We're going to treat people right, okay? We're going to treat. Say it with me. We are going to treat people right, okay? We are getting to the end of the year. I almost said the school year, but the year. And we are still dealing with people who have not tapped in on how to just have decent common sense and just allow people to be treated with decency and respect. I was at an event just this week, and I caught word that an individual was just waving this person like in their face, being completely condescending. It irked me. I'm going to tell you a little secret. A lot of people will treat you according to your numbers. If you create content, you know what I'm talking about, meaning how much engagement do you have? How many followers do you have? So they tie that to common decency and respect. If you have a large following, there's no way I'm going to piss you off. So I'm going to do everything I can to be super nice to you. But if you only have so many people, I could care less whether you come to something. I could care less if you don't. I could care less if you are happy about something. I'm not here to make anything right for you. I need us to get back to treating people with some more common decency and respect. Because if you only treat the person that you think has the highest number the right way, you are going to struggle. Let me tell you why. There are people who have these high numbers and engagement, but they are trash humans, which means you'll put them to go somewhere. They'll tell you that they're coming and they will never show up. But while you're turning your nose up at the person who has a lower number and quote unquote has the lowest engagement or lower engagement versus the person who has it all, I can almost guarantee you a lot of people who get to the top, they will act like no one else exists but them. They are rude. They are inconsiderate. They say whatever they want to because they feel like they have the numbers to back it up. I've even heard people say, I have so many numbers. I can't be fooling with that. Somebody should be giving me A, B, and C. Where did we get that from? This is a sense of entitlement. Because whether you have all these engagements and you might be able to pull numbers, I'm not disputing that. There are some people who can pull it. Okay, great. I love that for you. But treating somebody right has nothing to do with basic numbers. It has nothing to do with any of that. And when I heard the situation, as I'm listening to the situation, I became embroiled. I said, my goodness, you mean to tell me in 2024, in the year of our Lord, we are still dealing with people who are mean to people that they feel they have no value. Now, again, I know this ain't nothing new. This ain't nothing new. People been doing this since Jesus was a baby. But the problem in that is that you isolate yourself to becoming rude. And then here's the problem. When the rudeness becomes obvious, when the rudeness becomes exuberant, when other people catch wind, why do you think people are no longer in your circle? Why do you think that people no longer deal with you? Because they keep your conversations, your real character precedes you. If somebody thinks you're trash and then you keep acting like the trash that people think you are, we can't keep getting mad at people for showcasing that. We got to say, hey, maybe I need to do a little bit of a soul search. Maybe, just maybe, this is on me. How can I do better? How can I treat people better? One, you got to be a better human. Because it's not okay to belittle people because you feel like they don't matter. Listen, that irks me. And I will air you out. I have no problem. The person that I'm thinking about in particular that I've seen this week that it happened, that I am not shocked. If this had been a few years ago, I would have been like, nah, that couldn't have been. But now I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked. Because we have to treat people right. We can't do what we want to do. We can't just treat and say any old thing. And that saying any old thing, it matters. You can say the nicest thing in a mean way and set somebody completely off. Because you meant it for how you said it. You just want to backpedal when you're called out about it. Okay? There's a piece of knowledge. A lot of people know what they're doing. When they hit the stuff talking about I don't know, they do. They do. And if we start holding more and more people accountable, we would have less and less of people hiding in that because they know what they're doing. One of the things that my mom always taught me was that the reason why people do what they want to do to people and the reason why they do without remorse a lot of times is because they haven't run up against a person who will basically clean your clock. Now, I'm not advocating violence. I'm not telling people to take matters in your own hand. I'm just saying I understand. And I also understand that people are delusional. They live in the spirit of Delulu because they think they can say or do anything. And let me just say, the person that this situation happened to, I know 1000% the only reason why it happened was one, the person wasn't valued. But the other bigger reason was that person wouldn't have said anything, didn't speak up. Listen, I'm going to have a conversation with the person involved in this conversation. So if this person is listening and they're like, oh my God, I think that was me, it's probably you. And I will be having a conversation. And the reason why is because people have to understand, I personally will never sit back and know that something like this is happening and being okay with just allowing that type of stuff to stay in the atmosphere. That's number one. Number two, If you are willing to treat someone who you think is the less of you, you'll do it to the person that's the greater of you if pushed the right way. And I don't think people understand that concept. Just because you can play in my face or you think you're playing in my face, it just shows that once I catch on, like I'm the type of person, I might let you go on for a little bit. Like my mom said, give a cowboy enough rope, they'll hang themselves, okay? Again, let me stress, I am not advocating violence. I'm just saying I understand. And so when we get these situations where people can talk to you any type of way because they feel as if you're not going to respond is extremely problematic. It's problematic. And I want us to get to a point where we do better. Like I want us to actually take the time to say, you know what can I do to be better? How can I treat people better? How can I treat myself better? Some people treat other people bad because they don't treat themselves well. I just need to be on to do better. I had a situation with a friend. I've been friends with this friend for a long time. This person, we were going somewhere and this person made this comment about what I had on. Now, they could have been right about what I had on. I don't really remember if it was correct or not. What I do know was the spirit in which it was given. First of all, this person was not even a fashionista in the least bit. So me taking advice from somebody who don't even dress well themselves is diabolical. Number two, I was in the midst of postpartum and that person just had no clue, couldn't tap in, and definitely didn't know how to read the room. How we get to the point where people just say and do anything because they didn't want to read the room. The only thing I regret during that time was not speaking up. So when the situation happened to me again from the same exact person, I said, oh no, we're not doing this twice. Okay. I'm not doing this twice. And so because I decided I wasn't going to do this twice, I decided I was going to go ahead and speak up. So I did. And let that person know you did it the first time and I kind of let it go, but it was bothering me. I'm not about to let you pull that stunt again. Okay. Let people do what they're going to do. And I hate that. I hate that we use the term, well, if I'm your friend, I should be able to correct you 1000%. But you have to have the spirit of correction and have something in your spirit that is, again, can do it in the right way. Some people are just mean and can't wait to take the opportunity. So they hide behind, we real friends. I should be able to speak. Listen, especially dealing with somebody like myself, who battle to battle, conversation to conversation, I can battle the greatest. I really can go to toe with people. I really am that girl. I really will debate you. I really will get to that level. And so for people to think that they can just pull a stunt because you have not responded is again, diabolical. I don't understand that. I want us to get to treating people better, but I also want us to take stock about how we treat, how we talk, how we entreat other people. The way you make people feel in your presence matters. And when you're walking around here in life acting reckless and raggedy, you can't expect a reason why you keep getting reckless and raggedy happening to you. You don't think you're going to get that back? You don't think you're going to ever receive that? You will. You will. You have no choice. You have to receive that. Here are some of the wins of the week for me personally. The reason why I'm sharing these wins is not to brag in the least of it. I am sharing these wins so you can recognize your own wins. When's the last time you said, I'm so grateful for the ability to do certain things. I'm so grateful for the ability to get up every day and start my day. Do you understand how hard it is for some people to just do that? Some people are on the struggle bus where they can't even feel like they can get up from day to day. And so when you discover that people are like, okay, you know what, I'm going to do better. I'm feeling good about myself. I want us to win. So I want you to understand that you should be at least writing down your wins. And so my wins for this week was getting through the week where my kids' schedule have been all over the place. I have 3 children, one in high school, one in junior high, and one in elementary. We got them in all of them, right? And so their schedules are forever changing. And my schedule is always changing. I am creating content. I'm always somewhere doing something. And so when the schedule changes, it becomes a lot to manage. And so this week I felt like I was able to handle the schedules a lot with a little bit more grace than normal. And I'm grateful for that. Another win of this week is obviously the blog. Celebrating 10 years is not an easy feat. And I'm just grateful for the ability to celebrate. I'm grateful for still loving what I do and doing what I love. Do you know how many people love certain things that they don't ever tap into it? So that's a win for me this week. Another win this week was that I'm collaborating currently with Toyota. This is not my first time. This is about my second year, and I don't remember how many collaborations we have done. In the 2 years, I've done several collaborations with them. And to know that I'm just able to do those things, I don't take it lightly. Right now, I'm testing out the 2025 Camry, and it's a car that I actually like. Now, I don't know if I would buy it in real life literally only because my kids are so tall. My kids are taller than me. My oldest is 5'9". My son is 5'10". they fit comfortably in the car when it's just us four. We add my husband in there and now we got a problem. So it's not enough space per se for my growing family. So that would be the only drawback. But when it comes to all the bells and whistles on this car, 100% I want. Like, sign me up immediately. I want them now. This car is absolutely great. It moves in a way, it's smooth when it rides. It has a lot of bells and whistles, and a lot of it is more safety garnered. Like, yes, there's some things that, of course, with like charging your phone and doing those things, but the safety mechanisms on this Toyota Camry is out of this world. It literally is going to try to do its best to keep you from being in an accident, crossing over into lanes, being distracted, because a lot of us drive distracted. It is literally trying to compensate that and make sure that you're safe. So for that, I say 100%. If it was a bigger vehicle, I would take it because, again, this Toyota Camry does ride well. So that's another win. Another third win, I am done with all of the Christmas shopping. Yes, for my children, I'm done. I still have my nieces to do and little people here and there, but that's about it. When it comes to my kids, I'm actually done, and I'm really grateful for that. I'm just happy about that. Like, I'm so happy because no matter how I try to plan as early as possible, life be life, and so sometimes I'm good, and then I hate that last minute run. I don't like it. So I'm done with that. Lastly, is showing up for this podcast, and making sure that I get it done and making sure that my spirit is good when I'm doing it. I don't want to do any more like where I'm half sleeping or kind of like feeling like I'm groggy. I don't want to do any of those, because why would you tune into a podcast and be like, girl, go to bed. We can't hear from you because you half sleep yourself. I don't want that type of energy. So I'm making sure that my energy matches what I want to be put out. And again, I don't want to put any junk out. I don't want to put any foolishness out. I want to make sure that I'm putting out decent and quality content. So for that, I will say that this is this week's episode. We talked about the blog and lessons that I've learned. We talked about the wins, and we talked about treating people better. How can we treat ourselves better? How can we treat other people better? It is extremely important. This world is so dark. And it's not even just political. Like, it's literally dark forces in this world that's happening. And so many people are suffering some unimaginable things behind the scenes that you have no idea. And it only takes one bad conversation. It only takes one bad encounter. It only takes one cussing out of somebody. It only takes one thing to trigger somebody. Now, 100%, if something that you said or did is causing somebody else to react, they're 100% in charge of their responses. I don't deny that. What I am saying is, regardless of those things, I feel like we still could play a part in how we interact with other people. And because we're in a position where, again, we don't do what needs to be done, sometimes I feel like we need to find a way, a small way, a big way, all the ways to do what we can to not push people, to a breaking point. Sometimes I feel like we hold the keys to people's happiness and we know it. And when somebody does that to you and they definitely know that they hold those keys, it's like being in a relationship with someone. You're in a relationship with someone, they know what they're doing. They know that they're causing you some type of ill will. They know that they're just being extra. And instead of them doing what's right, they would just rather just continue to stomp on that bad nerve of yours just to see you suffer. And if you're in a relationship with someone who's doing that, I'm going to need you to do everything you can to quietly come up about that, because I promise you they will not stop until they feel like they are crushing you. And that's sad to me. That is absolutely sad to me. But do people do it? Every day, unfortunately. Every day, all the time. So I want us to find a way to know that people are one snap away from doing the right thing or doing the wrong thing. And no, you can't control what people are doing, but you can make sure you're not a contributor to what they have going on. I hope that this episode, something resonated with you. I hope that you enjoyed and hearing some of the things that I've learned. I hope that you do pick up something for yourself. Like, I hope you do find, you know what, that this is the year I'm going to actually stop saying I'm going to do and actually do something. Like, that's what I want. I want you to get to the point you're like, you know what? I'm not going to just talk about what I'm going to do. I'm not going to, like Beyonce, that soundbite that we keep hearing. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to do it. I want you to do it. And I want you to stop, please, for the love of the Lord. Stop waiting until January 1st to do it. If you've been struggling to go to the gym and you ain't went to the gym all year round, this ain't the time to wait till January 1st. You can just go today. You can gym tomorrow. You can go right now. You do not have to wait till January 1st. You do not have to continue in something bad just to reset in January 1st. Do I believe in the reset of January 1st? 1000% I do. I look forward to that reset. But that does not mean that I have to wait until January 1st. Are we clear? All right. Have the most amazing weekend. If you're here in the Philadelphia area, there's a lot going on holiday-wise. I do believe that the holiday market is open. That's down in Center City in Love Park. That is always something to do. It's opening up tomorrow. So if you want to get like that first kind of dibs to it, actually it started today. My bad. It is starting today. So go ahead and try that out. Go and have your experience. Support small businesses. Get unique gifts for people that you love. It's going to be a great time. I do plan to go down there, just not this weekend. If you are also in Philadelphia, there is also a craft show being held at the convention center. If you are about that craft life, if you think you're about that craft life, go ahead and go in there and look to see what you can get. Listen, you might find some crafts that your kids might like. You might find some crafts that make amazing gifts for other people. Not that you have to craft it and then give them something, but you can give them something that they can craft, especially if they are creative. You want to give that. That is something that you can do. Let me try to also think. All the Christmas bars are open for those who love a good bar. Even if you don't and you just want to go and just have yourself a good time, there's, I believe, some of them, sometimes they have little mocktails that you can get of the same drinks. Just give it a try. There's plenty of them to be seen. There's a lot to do. And for those who are like, okay, I'm in the Philadelphia area, I don't like bars, I don't necessarily want to go to the open outside market, let me just tell you, as a great blogger, I wrote a blog that will show you all the things that are happening. Some things are inside, some things are outside, some things are for couples, some things are for solo people, some things are for families. It's all broken down for you. I'm going to put that into the show notes so that you can have it. And also today's blog where we're talking, where I say we. Why do I always say we? We are talking. When I am talking about the lessons that I've learned, some of them are not the same lessons that I talked about on the blog. And I was very more specific to the podcast than I was with the blog, because I'm okay with people calling out people. Like, I may not call your name out, but I will call you out, okay? Because I'm trying to be, politically correct and all the things sometimes. Either way, I want you to have a good weekend. I want you to find something that you enjoy. I want you to, fill your cup right back up. I want you to enjoy all the things. Thank you for tuning in to Conversations with Toy. We will be back in these next week. We'll be back next week because, again, I want to get us ready for holidays, get us ready for Thanksgiving, get us ready for the social activities that we're about to do, get us ready to take a break from some of these social activities because we need that as well. Either way, sending you love your way. Have the most amazing week and weekend. I will see you back here Friday for Conversations with Toy. Have the most amazing day.
Thank you as always for joining me, and I know that even in the deepest or joyful conversations that there's something we can learn and apply. Until next time, I hope that you are doing better. If not, we will be back to talk some more and handle it. Peace to you and yours. Stay grounded.